I think for Korean people, the idea of opportunity cost is very uncomfortable. So a very long time ago, I worked at this hagwon in San Diego, which was, I was teaching math and English, and the way that this hagwon worked is, I don't think it's typical of hagwons in Korea, but I was just teaching 3 or 4 kids at a time. So basically these 3 or 4 kids would get workbooks, and then they would kind of work on their own, and whenever they had problems, I would help them. And whenever they would finish a page, I'd quickly grade it and see if they messed something up and try to explain it to them. Now, the real difficult part of the job is that I have to make this balance between explaining something really in depth and really teaching it really well, or getting around to all the students. Because I don't want a student to sit there and say, like, I have a problem, and I'm like, no, I'm helping this other person, so you just wait there. So I would have to explain quickly so I can get to every student, but I also need to explain in depth. And you can't really do both because, like, by definition, explaining in depth requires time. So one day my boss, she would watch me teaching a class sometimes, and she would give me some hints or some suggestions, right? And she told me one day, she said, look, you need to teach faster. And I said, oh, I understand. I'm not getting around to all the students enough. I'm sorry about that. And I said, like, so maybe I should teach a little less in depth, kind of give them the general idea so they can get on their own, and then be able to do things quicker and get around to more students. She said, whoa. No, don't do that. Teach in depth and faster. And it was like, well, I mean, I told her straight up, like, I can't do that by, like, the definition of teaching in depth and the definition of teaching quickly. I can't do both at the same time. She's like, no, just do both. And this is really stupid because, for one thing, she's ignoring the push and pull, which is the whole tricky part of the job. But number 2, it's like not really helping me. Basically, her advice is just work harder, work more. Well, no shit, I should work more. Like, that's obvious, that's a given. She's basically telling me I'm not working enough. And it's like, well, that's not helping me. So I don't think Korean people are altogether not knowing about the idea of opportunity cost. I don't think it's a new idea. I don't think it's something that no Korean person's ever heard of. I just think Korean people are kind of uncomfortable with the idea of opportunity cost. So let me briefly explain what opportunity cost is. Opportunity cost is basically you have a choice between 2 things, and you can do a certain amount of this and a certain amount of that and some mixture of the 2, but you can't just do 100% of both. Very brief explanation, but I think most people have the idea. So I think this idea of, like, having to choose a little bit of this and a lot of bit of that, or a little bit of this and a lot of bit of that, is very uncomfortable for Korean people because there's one solution to everything in Korea, and that's to just work more, work harder, work longer. That's the solution. That's what the hagwon teacher told me. She said, I presented her with this opportunity cost choice. Well, should I teach faster or should I teach more in depth? And she just said, what? That was like, no, I don't like, that's uncomfortable. That's not good for me. Do both. Simply work harder. Okay. And there's a really good English expression which explains this really well. We have this expression which is, when your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Which essentially means if you have one solution to everything, and in Korea that's working hard, then all of your problems have to look like a nail, which is like all your problems have to be a function of you not working enough, which is not true because all problems don't work out that way. A lot of problems are this opportunity cost problem of I could spend X amount of time doing this and Y amount of time doing that, and how much should I do of each? And because the whole solution to everything in Korea is just work harder, it's really uncomfortable for Korean people to even think that way. Now, I'll give you another example. When I'm making these videos a long time ago, the first 4 or 5, maybe 6 videos I made were like crazy popular. I'm not exactly sure how or why, but they were. And then slowly and steadily they became much less popular, which, okay, that stuff happens. And I was asking my Korean friends, how can I solve this? How can I become, more popular again? How can I get my videos back popular again? And one of the suggestions, almost all of them said, was like, put in more animations, put in more editing, have like your words pop up on the side, and make fast clips and noises and all this stuff. And that's kind of a good idea. Maybe I'm trying to get more into that. If you notice recently, I have like intro and outro animations, and I probably should get more into that. But the problem is, the more time I spend doing that, the less time I have to concentrate on the content of the actual videos I'm making, which to me is the most important thing, the actual content, what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. And I tell my friends, look, for me to do just a very small amount of like words coming up on the side, or having a little info graph right there, whatever, that takes me an hour or a couple hours. It takes me about 20 minutes to shoot and watch one of my takes. So I can either, do 3 takes where I can like really improve the content of the video, or I can put in some stupid words in a little graph that goes like that. And I would explain this to my friends, and they would just say, well, just do both. And it's like, wait, what? Like you're fundamentally missing the problem I have. I have to make a choice between these two things. How much should I do? And their solution was just do both, which is, of course, like I said, the Korean hammer: work harder. And I said, well, I want to do other things in my life besides make YouTube videos. They don't really pay the bills. I have actual work I have to do. I have to like learn Korean. Like I'm trying to do that as well. I have to like actually enjoy my life. And they said, no. Just work more on the videos. That's what you got to do. And I was like, well, where do I take the time from? And one of my friends made this joke, which was sleep less. And I was like, okay. And he was joking, but you could see he was kind of not joking. He was kind of suggesting that I just sleep less. And this fundamental idea of opportunity cost is one that comes up all the time in life. It's what living is. It's how much do I do this and how much do I do that? And how much time do I spend resting? How much time do I spend working? How much time do I think about the future? And how much time do I think about just now? This is life. And I think it's kind of a problem that Korean people don't really concentrate on that. It's a big part of life that Korean people are just kind of uncomfortable with, because it doesn't fit their mold of, you have a problem, simply work harder. So I kind of explained why I think Korean people are a little uncomfortable with the idea of opportunity cost. But now I want to explain why this idea is so fundamental to living, so fundamental to our lives, so fundamental to us leading a good life. We're only on this planet for 60 or 70 years if you're lucky. You better make the best of it. And being able to make choices between one thing and another, or some mixture of the two, is very important. I'll give you 2 examples. The first example is just the present versus the future. Okay, you could spend your time now having a party and not doing any work, not saving any of your money, but then the future you'll have no savings and you might be fucked if you have an emergency, or you might not be able to start a family or whatever. But if you do the opposite 100% and you just like put your head down and just work 12 hours a day now and don't enjoy any of your time now, you might die in a year, and then you will have wasted all of your time. So obviously you need some balance between the two. You need to choose, okay, I'm gonna have some fun now, but I'm also gonna work pretty hard now so that I have a pretty good future, and if I die tomorrow, no regrets. Okay, that's the first fundamental balance. And the next fundamental balance is between, we're humans and we're productive animals, and one of the things we do with a lot of our time in our life is work. And when you're choosing your job, or if you're choosing to change jobs, change career paths, or you're choosing your major in college, or whatever it is, you have to choose what kind of job you want. And on each side, you can either have a job that is secure, pays well, but is boring. Like, let's say you choose between being a programmer, a computer engineer, or being an artist, like someone who actually paints, like a painter, right? That kind of artist. If you're a computer programmer, you're a computer engineer, you have much better job stability, you're gonna make more money, but you're probably not gonna enjoy your job that much. Unless you're really into computer programming, in which case, you do you, have fun. But for a lot of people, this is a decision they make. And maybe you really like painting. It's your passion, you love to do it. But the job market for that is almost non-existent. You're probably not gonna make a lot of money if you make any at all. You'll probably have a very difficult life, but if you really enjoy it, maybe it's worth it. And you have this decision: do I want to have really unfun work that will pay the bills and give me enough money to possibly do things outside of work that I want to do? Or do I want to get a huge amount of job satisfaction where I won't have enough money? Maybe won't even be able to find a job, but I will love the work so much that it'll be worth it. And you have to make a choice between these two things. But like I said, all of these decisions are not just, 100% this, 100%. Well, you can make maybe some compromise. Like maybe you want to be like maybe something like a graphic designer is a good compromise where you can do some of this. Graphic designers there's a job market for them. You make some money. It's not like, maybe it's not as much as a program, but you make some money. But also you're kind of being artistic, and so it's kind of like painting. And maybe you're not having as much fun when you're doing graphic design as you would if you were painting, but it's a good mix. Being able to make this decision is just a fundamental part of life. If you can't decide between two things, take either 100% of this or 100% of that, or some mixture of the two, now versus the future, high earning versus high job satisfaction. If you can't do that, I promise you're not going to have a good life. And that's why, even though for Korean people, I think the idea of opportunity cost is really uncomfortable, it's something that people have to live with and something people have to deal with. And I hope that it becomes more normalized in Korean society and more thought of as a thing that everyone should consider so that they can have a good, happy, productive, and fruitful life. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate this video, give it a thumbs down. If you love me or you hate me, please hit that subscribe button. This video, I don't know if it's controversial, but at least it's got some different ideas. Maybe it's a little controversial, maybe I'm wrong, and Korean people really do think about opportunity costs a lot. Don't just think about hard working, and maybe you agree. Whatever your thoughts are, please leave them in the comments below, because I love comments and I try to read as many as I possibly can. Also remember, every Friday at 7 p.m. a new video like this comes out, so if it's after 7 p.m. on Friday, you should check out my video. And of course, the most important thing of all, have a super awesome day.